Welcome back to another episode where I build another one of my crazy ideas. This time I'm mounting 3 jet engines on the back of my Tesla Model S, build the entire system that's gonna allow me to control those jet engines from inside of the car. Then I'm gonna take the car out on the street for a test drive on the freeway, drive it under jet power, do a few experiments and see what happens. Let me get moving. I have a lot of work to do. At this point, I'm all done with the control panels inside. Everything came out pretty nice. Next thing I have to do are the controls in the rear, get the jet engines mounted, and get the fuel tank installed. feels really weird running a fuel line on an electric car. All right, the jet powered Tesla is all done. I think it came out really well. Originally, this isn't how I was going to make it, but due to supply chain and material shortages, I was forced to use whatever materials I had on hand. So if you see this thing shaking around a little bit, it's because it's missing one support on the back of the subframe there, but don't be worried. It's really strong. It's just flexing a little bit more than I'd like it to. Other than that, I think everything came out really well. This was a heck of a build. I built just about every single part from the ground up, including the entire system to take the human inputs and convert that into something that the jet computers can understand. And one more thing I decided to make was a fuel gauge to tell me how much fuel is in that fuel cell at any time, because this thing's gonna burn about 1.5 to 2 gallons of fuel per minute, and I absolutely need to know what the level of fuel is so I can shut the engines down in time, cool them. I also don't want any air to get into the fuel lines. I even thought about coding something in there to give me the bingo fuel warning to let me know when I'm at my minimum, where I have just enough fuel to cool the engines down and shut everything down properly. But I skipped that part because I pretty much ran out of time. As for fuel, I'm gonna be burning this hydro diesel, which is a micro emulsion. This is the final version of hydro diesel, which is why it's kind of translucent instead of milky white. But I only have 10 gallons of this, so I'm probably gonna burn through it fairly quickly, seeing as these jet engines burn a ton of fuel. Not what you expect from an electric car, but they are jet engines, they need fuel. It is what it is. Next thing I'm gonna do is start these engines up, make sure all 3 engines are running fine before taking this out on the street and giving it full throttle. I'm not really sure what to expect, but I guess we're gonna find out. All right, here we go. Full throttle, everything. Is everything running? Yep. That was like a gallon of fuel, I bet you. There you go. I think that was a real noise. That was pretty crazy. It blew the whole alley became like a wind tunnel here. It blew all the dirt out of the end of the alley. The alley's clean now, so that was pretty interesting. I'm all done with my test run. Everything seems to be working perfectly. Now that I see how much thrust these 3 engines make and how loud they are, it's gonna be a lot of fun driving this car around with these engines blasting. Let's do it. Ready to go. Kind of funny because you could see the jet engines on the rear view camera. I merged onto the freeway. As soon as traffic opens up, I'm gonna start up all 3 jet engines, put the car in neutral, and go full power. These are the guys causing all the traffic. All right, here we go. Only 2 engines, one of them flamed out. I'm on the freeway in neutral, and I'm just gonna throttle it up and see what it does. Neutral, it's kind of going uphill right now. Only 2 engines, one of them flamed out. 59, 60 miles per hour. That's on 2 engines. I don't know what that warning was. 22 pounds. 59 to 60 miles per hour. We're in neutral, 61. Man, that sucker's loud. This guy just cut me off. Look at this guy, he's cutting me off. Look at this guy. Why would he cut me off? I think we just ran out of fuel. Yep, I think we just ran out of fuel. Oh man, that was good though. Let me put it back in drive. That was cool. We hit what, 61 miles per hour. Let me put these engines into cooling mode. Oh, I smell, yep, they're smoking. Gotta get them in cooling mode. I smell something burning. I don't know what that is. I don't know if that's the engines or what that is burning, but I got everything into cooling mode. Oh man, I don't know what that smell is. It smells like it's burning, but I think, yep, I'm out of fuel. So I hit like 7 pounds at one point. It's moving around because it's bumpy, but perfect. Apparently I have to pull super close because every single kerosene hose, this hose is so short. There we go. That's working. Oh great, I just spilled kerosene all over the place. Much better with the funnel. So not only do I have to put kerosene, but I also have to mix turbine oil. We need about 7 cups. All filled up. About 100. Should be about 103 pounds. I just arrived at the 1.5 mile long strip where I'm gonna do the 0 to 60 runs. I'm at about 58% battery with 100 pounds of fuel, and unfortunately it's drizzling a little bit, so the pavement is slightly wet. Definitely not the ideal conditions to try to do the best 0 to 60 run, but I'm gonna do the experiment anyway because I wanna see the difference between 0 to 60 on electric power only and 0 to 60 on electric and jet power combined. The best time that I've run 0 to 60 with this car on a hot summer day with a full battery charge was 2.4 seconds with no jet power. First, I'm gonna do 1 run from 0 to 60 with electric only. Then I'm gonna come around, start up all 3 engines, let them warm up completely, and then go full power and do a 0 to 60 run with full jet power and full electric power. Let's see what happens. It's gonna be interesting, even if it's not the best 0 to 60 time. Here we go. This is gonna be the first 0 to 60 run. Now I'm at 53% battery after the battery's heated up, but I'm gonna give it my best here and see what it does. And I'm gonna do it with launch mode both times just for consistency, even though it's really cold outside, but at least have a good comparison. Let's see what happens. Here we go. Launch mode. .38 seconds. Not too bad, considering that we don't have any traction. I can totally hear the tires spinning, and I bet you if I go back there and look at the pavement, there's tire marks for sure. Let me do another run with jet power this time while the ground is still a little damp, just so we have some consistency. Here we go. Let me start it up. Engine 1, engine 2, engine 3. All right, they're all running. Let's do it. Full jet power, launch mode enabled. What is going on with this thing? Boom, 3.32 seconds. Perfect, there you go. It shaved almost a whole second off of my time. That was great, that was amazing. 3.4 seconds. I think that's the best I'm gonna get. During that last run, I can hear the tires screeching all the way up to about 60 miles per hour. You can see the skid marks there. So those tires are definitely slipping. I even think that the tires are spinning all the way up to over there, which is about 150, 200 feet away, because there's marks up there that weren't there when I started. That was absolutely the worst 0 to 60 time I've ever done with this car. I guess under the circumstances, it was okay. And it was really cool to see that the car was faster with jet power. Those were standing 0 to 60 times. I had the V-Box set not to subtract that first foot of rollout. But I'm gonna have to revisit this whole 0 to 60 thing when it gets warmer outside, because I'm pretty confident that with jet power and electric power combined and some traction on those tires, I'm gonna be able to get a 0 to 60 under 2 seconds fairly easily. And I know everybody's gonna ask me why I place the engines here and not in the Airstream. If we look at the streamlining of the car, this area where I place the engines is the neutral pressure zone. My goal was to be able to start these engines at any time while driving the car. And in order to do that, I couldn't have any windmilling, because when these engines are off, the bearings have no lubrication and that will damage the engine. And it worked perfectly because I had absolutely no rotation on those engines, even when I was going 80 miles per hour on the freeway. And a lot of people can argue the fact that the ram air will help the engine produce more thrust, and yeah, that's true. I probably lost about 30 pounds of thrust total, but that's a sacrifice I made in order to get what I wanted, and I got what I wanted. I was able to start the engines at any time while driving the car. I think I covered just about everything. Thanks for watching. This was a really hard one for me to make, so hopefully you really enjoyed it. And I also had a lot of footage from this video that I couldn't post here. All sorts of funny things that happened while I was starting these jet engines up out on the street. And I'm gonna post all that stuff on my second channel. I'll leave a link to that channel in the description below. But other than that, for now, that's all I got on the Tesla. I'm definitely gonna do some future videos with this car. I have some really good ideas, so definitely tell me what you think in the comments below. See you in the next video. Adios. There's one thing for sure. I don't think I've ever seen the back of a Tesla this dirty before. Check out that guy right there in that pickup truck with Louisiana plates. He was trying to get in front of me and roll coal, and I sped up real quick, got in front of him, and then I started up all 3 jet engines on a hot start. So there was flames coming out of all 3 engines, and he just like, he got weirded out and kind of backed off. It was kind of funny.